Each and every week on the Neighborhood Watch segment here on the Friday Night 360 AZ preview show, we try to recognize and key in on a certain high school football community. And over the past few years, we've seen a lot of really good publications come out and develop over the years, highlighting those hyper-local areas and things like that. And that's definitely happened with My News Mesa. And with that, we're going to bring in Jason Skoda, who has been leading the charge in terms of that. And Jason, first things first, kind of a broad question, but what are you hoping to accomplish with My News Mesa?
Oh, it is. We're still figuring that one out, I think. It's just, it seems like Mesa has fallen through the cracks with the disintegration of newspapers with the Republic and Tribune. Have kind of lost a lot of the reporters, and Mesa's a huge city. It's bigger than Cleveland, where I come from. It's bigger than Minneapolis, but it doesn't get a whole lot of coverage. And it's a chance for us to jump in and cover everything from. I'm actually the food writer too, so I'm the food writer and the sports writer. So we're kind of all jumping on board and see where we can take this.
Getting into the football side of things, Mountain View is taking on Mountain Point this week. A pretty big matchup with that. How are you seeing these teams match up?
I haven't seen the team play yet. I covered Mountain Point for the last 7 years though, and they're going to bring some physical traits, and then Coach Fell does the same thing coming from Ohio. So I'd like to see how they're going to match up front. Last year was not a game at all. Mountain View came to Mountain Point, and Mountain Point beat them up pretty good. So I think I'm hoping Mountain View close the gap a little bit and can make a game of it and really gives a good show on Friday.
Red Mountain opened the season with 2 losses to Chandler and Hamilton, but had a win against Basha most recently. They had a late push last year and made it to the state semifinals. Do you see this season having a somewhat similar trajectory as their season kind of progresses?
Yeah, they had a lot of things going on the first couple of weeks. Lance Lawson, not quite sure he's 100% even still. The second week, they were very, very flat. They had some players suspended, and then talking to Coach Peterson, in my 24 years, I've never heard a coach be so open about possibly losing a team, losing the locker room. I mean, if you go back and read my story, he gave some very, very open quotes about, maybe he lost the locker room already, that he changed the culture too quick and the kids didn't accept it, and he was afraid he lost the team that quickly. And I've never heard a coach in 24 years openly talk about that. So it was interesting to see how they came back last week, and they took it to Bash a little bit. Bash is, they're not playing that well either. They have a new coach. They're both kind of in the same situation. But it was good to see Red Mountain come out, and Lance had 10 carries, 110 yards or something like that. And they're a bit of a transition still. They thought they were going to have Austin Duffy at quarterback. He bailed to concentrate on baseball, so then he had to take a wide receiver, Cannon Griner, and they basically make him become a quarterback. So they're in a bit of transition still, and I think by the end of the year they're going to be that team that maybe comes out on top in the East Valley region.
Desert Ridge has 2 young quarterbacks rotating through this year. What can you tell us about Matthew Purnell and Cooper Schmidt?
It looked, when I was talking to Jeremy after the game on this past week, I've seen him play twice. I saw him against Brophy, and I saw him against Hamilton. And the one game I didn't see is when Purnell performed really well. He was 7 for 7 in the game I did not see. But in the 2 games I saw, Cooper completely outplayed Purnell. So I'm not sure how it's going to play out, but I think he may end up settling on one quarterback at some point. It seems like Jeremy was kind of frustrated with Matthew this past week, and we might see more of Cooper than Matthew at this point.
Mesa started the year.
That's just a hunch on my part. That's not me saying it. That's just kind of the way I feel it's going to play out. I'm not sure that's going to happen or not.
Just connecting dots. Mesa started the year 1-3, but they have some ball players. Chris Jackson is a guy I don't think anyone really enjoys tackling. What do you see out of this Mesa team, and how are they going to be able to turn this slump around early?
I think it's going to have to come down to the defense. It's going to have to catch up a little bit. Chris Jackson is, like you said, he's a beast. He was heading into this past week. He was top 15 in the nation in rushing, and just doing it on both sides. Receiving, punt returns out of the backfield. He's just been killing it. And then Nate Hanna threw for 6 touchdowns, and the one win they had, tying a record from 1924. So the offense is in good hands. They have a good coach in Junior Taylor, who was wide receiver at UCLA. I think he's got a good hand on the offense. the defense is going to have to catch up a little bit. Get some of those linemen getting a pass rush, because the defense is pretty much given up quite a bit of points in the first 4 games.
Thanks so much for the time, Jason. We appreciate it.
Hey, guys. So anytime. I appreciate it so much.
That was Jason Skoda from MyNewsMesa. So a lot of interesting storylines here in that Mesa community, specifically with Red Mountain. Last year there was, early in the year it was kind of similar. They struggled a little bit, but come November it seemed like it was a team that no one really wanted to play, and they were almost a Cinderella number 13 seed, and they had Mountain Point, the top seed, on the ropes really until the very end of the game before Mountain Point was able to win that game and get to the state title. But a lot of transition. It seems like they're still trying to get their feet under them a little bit.
Yeah, and Jason mentioned Mountain Point and Mountain View and how he's kind of not necessarily expecting things to go the same way they went last year. I'm actually going to be out at that game, so I'm interested to see how this Mountain View team in 2017 stacks up against the Mountain Point team. Yeah,
a lot of interesting storylines, a lot of really good talent with Mesa, the whole Mesa community, and Jason does a great job. We're going to go ahead and take a break, and on the other side, we're going to be doing our game previews here for Week 4. This is the Friday Night 360 AZ preview show.